Alright guys, this is sort of a bonus video. I'm kind of going to give you my personal strategy on my crypto accumulation. So I call Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum well-established foundational coins. I call those spine coins. I call every other alternative currency a vertebrate coin or a rib coin, right? Like you need a spine to live, but you don't necessarily need a vertebrae. Like you could live without one of your ribs. So kind of like an archaic way of putting it, but it's kind of true. So when I'm accumulating my Bitcoin portfolio, I'm looking to, at the end of the day, kind of restock my Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum once again because these are foundational coins. So there's like four elements that I want to bring up, and we've talked about this before. You have to have a short-term mentality to create these short-term profits. It's necessary that you have a long-term mentality also as these companies, as these coins continue to have an increased demand, continue to change current world problems, and thus continue to increase in value. So those are the first two elements. You got to have your short-term strategy and your long-term strategy. Now, at the end of that, whether that's a day, a week, or a month, or a year, you need to also be looking to take these leveraged earnings where you're using all these cryptocurrencies to leverage building a Bitcoin accumulation. You need to leverage those and retain a portion of those earnings to return back into Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum. Why? Because currently, as I'm making this video, Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum are the coins that give you the most options. And by that I mean, if you wished to turn cryptocurrency back into fiat currency, government issued money, you would do that through Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum. You cannot currently, as I'm making this video, and this could change in the future, so as this market is fluidic, be witty and wary to understand when that's happening and if other currencies become liquidatable coins that you can turn back into fiat. Currently, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum are the coins that you can do that with. You might be able to do it with Bitcoin Cash as well. You might be able to do it with Ripple in the future. But right now, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. So all 1,350 alternative currencies that currently exist, what I'm doing is I am picking and choosing a few that I want to invest in and exponentially growing them in both a short-term strategy and a long-term mentality, having both of those two mentalities, and retaining a certain portion of that coin for long-term when the coins exponentially go even higher than these little short-term scalping and swing trades that I've made. I'm keeping a certain portion for that, and then I'm taking some of those profits and returning it back into my spine coins, my coins that I have to have, my coins that create these markets. Bitcoin creates markets, Ethereum creates markets, Litecoin has markets. There's no other coins currently that have their own markets or other coins that are being traded against them, in other words. So I have my short-term mentality, which is necessary for short-term scalping and swing trades. I have my long-term mentality for the long-term projections, the long-term mindset of these coins are solving current world problems. They will have an increased value and demand. They will go up in value, and I'll make even greater profits later on by retaining a certain percentage of these coins for the long-term hold. And in the stream of all of that, when I do earn, I typically on a monthly basis reflect back and take a certain percentage of those earnings, of those profits, or of that net, and I go, okay, I'm going to return a percentage of that into my spine coins, my Bitcoin, my Litecoin, or Ethereum, which are currently my liquidatable coins that if I wanted to, I could convert back into fiat currency, I could pay employees, I could pay for my house or whatever, some sort of company that doesn't yet accept cryptocurrency, and I could put some money in my bank if I wish to do that, or I could be even smarter and just keep it in Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum so I can use it on cards like BitPay and Shift and different Visa cards that transact cryptocurrency into local fiat currency. That's what I would do. But when I liquidate those coins back into Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum, they are more liquidatable now because those coins currently have a huge amount of volume. I can sell them back into the market on sites like Coinbase, for example, and be very liquidatable like that. And I have diversified my core portfolio back into three extremely foundational coins that are all going in an upward trend because they're so important. They all control markets. So that's kind of my strategy with doing that. And for example, I did this with Sia Coin just the other day. I brought this up as an example. So here we see the market. I would just labeled here. We've come out of a bull trend into a very apparent bear trend right here. And we could have created some profits here on the way down. But it went from 847 Satoshi down to a bottom of around right about 50, let's call it. Reached a level of sustainment, had a little breakout, hit bottom, probably hit bottom again here, had a breakout run, came down, fell, lost support, resistance, and then breakout. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, from about the end of November, beginning of December 17, coming into 2018 here, we've seen a bull run here. Having invested down here or even out here, I've created huge returns up here. And I'll show that over in my orders section. So this is a coin, for example, that I said, all right, I'm going to have a short-term mentality in this particular example I'm bringing up. I'm going to invest whatever, quarter Bitcoin, 0.37 Bitcoin into it. And I'll just go into my orders and I'll show you in here what I ended up doing with this coin just in a matter of a couple days, right? So we'll scroll down. I'll bring up SC right in here to my completed orders, and then I will change it to the type right here so it categorizes it. There you go. So you can see here I bought, and there's a really cool extension. If you're using Bittrex, there's a cool extension called Bittrex Enhanced for Google Chrome. Just install it. It's like a plugin for Google Chrome. Install it, and if you're using Bittrex, it will give you local dollar amounts, and it will give you an enhanced chart view. And it's this little extension right here, and I can bring it up and I can actually like click it and then choose like what sort of settings I want on it, and it will project the US dollar amount for me. So you can see the dates here: 1/1, 1/4, 1/4, 1/5. Those were my buy dates, and so over a 4-day period I spent 657, 1194, I spent 447, and then 1153. So I spent 3,468 US dollars worth of Bitcoin to accumulate all this. And then between 1/4 and 1/5, I made all of this back. And I ended up making $7,285, profiting myself $3,817. So I literally profited myself a quarter of a Bitcoin. Pretty crazy, right? And then at the end of the month, 3-4 weeks later, after I've looked back and seen where I'm at with this particular coin or my whole crypto alternative currency portfolio, I'll take my profits, I'll take my net, and I'll divert a certain amount of that, the amount I do, and you've got to do this yourself, okay? I'm not giving you financial advice, but say I put in $500, for example, into cryptocurrency, and 30 days later, that is now worth $5,000. So I have a $4,500 net profit. I will take that $4,500 and I will take 35% of it and I will return it back into Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or any Spine coin that currently exists at that point, and I will hold it in that coin without the intent to reinvest in alternative currencies. Then that still leaves 65% of my net profit left over to continue snowballing and accumulating more of those assets. So put in 500. 30 days later, you've got 5,000 in this example, you net 4,500. I take 35% of that, I diversify into Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or any Spine coin at that particular point, whether or not you're watching this video, you know, a day after I've made it, or a year, or a decade, whatever, and I take 35% and I put it back into Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or a Spine coin without the intent to reinvest. Then I use the remaining 65%, so, you know, 4,500, maybe, you know, $2,500 or $3,000, whatever it is, probably $3,300, and I take that and I continue to snowball for more accumulations. A month later, I do the same thing, 35% out, put 65% back in, and I keep accumulating that. And then I can take that 35% that I've accumulated, and then I can go, do I want to pay myself? Like, do I actually want to spend this money on something, to get gas, to swipe my BitPay card or my Visa Shift card, or do I want to sell some of it, convert it back into USD or Australian dollar or Canadian dollar or Chinese yen or whatever, put it back in my bank? What do I want to do with it? So that's kind of my accumulation strategy as far as my crypto portfolio goes. And if you need to pause, play, repeat this video, you're more than welcome to, and I will see you in the rest of the training.